Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Alexa and Friends. My name is Jeff Blankenberg, and if you haven't been here before, we spend our time talking with people from all across the voice industry. And today, I have the good honor of talking with Yoelle Maarek, who's the VP of Science and Research at Amazon Shopping. So, Yoelle, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Jeff. Really, thank you for having me.
Certainly. So one of the things that I like to do early on in these interviews is have a quick conversation with you using some silly questions. And I'm going to ask you two of them. The first one, with all the new movies we've had out about superheroes, I'm always interested to know what if you could pick any one superpower for yourself of all the superpowers that you've ever heard of, which one would you pick?
I would have preferred you asking me, who's my favorite superhero. That's an easier one because, of course, I would have said, Wonder Woman. It makes sense, right?
Lots of powers, though, so I need you to pick just one.
The most extraordinary superpower? I'm thinking.
No, that's okay. Thinking is good.
Maybe empathy, the empath, right? The people that really can feel and understand what other people really, really feel. So, maybe not too much like, the Marvel movie because it can really get bad.
Right.
But just a beginning of a little bit of empath so that you really feel the other people.
Nice. I like that. I think that the whole world could use more of that for sure. But I think that's a lovely superpower. All right. My second question, and this one requires a little storytelling, revolves around a decision that you're going to have to make. So I want you to imagine for a moment that you're in a big metropolitan city and you're walking down the street and you realize that the place that you want to go is one street over. And so your options are to walk all the way down and around the long city block, or there's an alley nearby and it's a brightly lit day. It doesn't look dangerous. There's nothing to be scared of. So you decide to walk down the alley to cut across to the place that you're meeting some friends. And as you get about halfway down this alley, at the other end, the end that you're heading towards, emerges a giant horse-sized duck. So I want you to imagine a very, very large duck, okay? Now, it looks a little menacing, a little mean maybe, and it doesn't look like something that you really want to mess with. So you turn around, as you naturally would, and say, I'm not going that way anymore. So you head back the way you came, only to find that that end has been filled with 100 duck-sized horses. So very, very small horses. So my question for you is, you're now kind of trapped in this alley between these two choices. If you have to fight your way out of this alley, which way would you choose to go?
I cannot guess where you're going with this one, but let me just go with my gut feeling.
That's perfect.
So I would keep up with the horses because first I would be more comfortable trying to slalom between small horses than, I'm short, so I don't want to be in front of a duck because it's even bigger for me.
Yes.
And I prefer horses to ducks just in general. They seem cuter, I don't know, especially if they're small.
Very good. Okay, so I like the word you use too. You're going to slalom between the ducks. That's a very good word. In the United States, slalom often means like skiing style slalom.
Yes.
But I think that's a perfect word for illustrating what you're trying to do there. So I like that very much. All right, so now what I want to know is I really wanted to get quickly to what I think we're all here for, which is to hear about you and hear about your background. So what I ask people to do is kind of share with me your quick 5-minute synopsis of your history. You have a very interesting role. You're working on a lot of very interesting projects, and we'll get to all of that stuff. But I'm always interested to share with people kind of where you came from. Where did you go to college? What did you study? What kind of roles did you take to get to where you are today? I'd love to be able to share that whole story.
Sure, it's a pleasure. But I'm dying to understand the end of the story with the duck of horses. What does it say about me, about my personality? Maybe we do that offline. I'm curious.
Sounds good. That sounds very good.
So speaking about me, so you hear me, I have a French accent. I grew up in France. And then I went to do my PhD in Israel at the Technion at the time. And I did it, in computer science. And during a part of my PhD, just to be with my then boyfriend, who would become my husband, I went to Columbia University in New York, and I discovered the field of search, of information retrieval, which is actually the computer science discipline behind search. But I'm talking 30 years ago, and at that time, nobody cared about it. Absolutely, it's pre-web era. I'm really a search dinosaur, right? And I was, extremely lucky because, trust me, nobody cared about it, but I got, super excited about it. It was a little bit, a lot before time. So I did my PhD, in information retrieval. After finishing my PhD, I went to IBM Research, and I continue working in search. But, at the time at IBM Research, it was a database company. So you would say, I don't want to do SQL. I want to do free text search. I don't want users to start learning Boolean. I want them to speak naturally. And it was weird. And nobody cared about it. So, but, I'm persistent. When I love something, I'm persistent. I was just passionate about it. So I continued, working on that, joining the community. At the time, it was a small community. And, and the web arrived. And I was extremely lucky because then suddenly people started to realize, oh, search is not just for lawyers and for, or for physicians looking for specific cases here and there. It's really, we don't need to speak Boolean. We can be natural. It's for everyone. It's really the democratization of search. And then suddenly everything I was doing, I didn't need to convince people would understand it naturally. So at IBM at the time, I was part of the team that drove the enterprise search. And because I published, I kept publishing because I love publishing papers about my work. I got, people at Google that knew, my community just approached me. So I left IBM Research after 17 years, long career, and I moved to Google, did very, very cool things here, pure engineer, going from research to engineering. And I love the engineering side, impacting users. My team is credited for launching Google Suggest, which is the query completion feature. You all know it. You start typing and that's it, magic. The engine completes what you want to write. And then I moved to Yahoo Research, where many people don't know that, but Yahoo actually did have this query completion, launched it before Google. So I really loved, the way Yahoo treats users. And also I wanted to go back to publishing. That was really my big motivator because engineering was cool. Impacting hundreds of millions of users is awesome. I love to have impact, but I want to talk about it. I talk too much, right? I'm passionate about search, so I want to talk about that. And at Yahoo, I had that. I had this combination of inventing for users, but as well as publishing. And I worked. I had the privilege to work with Marissa Mayer, who was actually with whom I was working at Yahoo, and then she became the CEO of. I was working with her at Google, and then they became the CEO of Yahoo. And working for a woman CEO is really, really cool, especially someone as cool as she was. And then, I had the chance to be able to lead all of Yahoo Research, to guide it before the acquisition. And then, Yahoo was acquired, so I was still in search. I was doing enterprise search and web search. And then at Yahoo, I was doing mail search, which was really, really interesting. And then at that point, acquisition, I was just, at Cornerstone, and I was approached by Amazon. And for me, that was something super interesting because I was, for me, Amazon was products, but they were not, and very cool products, very cool, great impact on customers, but not very famous in research. And I wanted to keep this double kind of agenda of, yes, impacting users, but also contributing to the ecosystem, validating our research with the community. And it so happened that I was convinced by, at the time, Jeff Wilkie, who told me, yeah, but now it's happening. And it's true that, when I joined Amazon a little bit more than 3.5 years ago, basically, I see a big revolution where now, we have AWS, we have Alexa, and we have even, regular business line there, we have so many brilliant scientists that now was really the time to make Amazon a world-class, science company. Yeah. And I jumped because it was a next challenge. I did, enterprise, web, mail search, and now it's product search, voice search, and it's really the next level, which is extremely more complicated. And I love a good challenge, right, from time to time.
Yeah, I think that's something that people forget sometimes, is that work should be a challenge. Yes. I think a lot of people look for a role that they feel very comfortable and almost relaxed in. And I find with voice especially, I didn't come from a voice background at all, but I've been a software developer for 20 years or so. And getting into voice and learning this stuff, there's always that feeling of discomfort. Like I don't know everything, and I never will know everything. But having an opportunity to be challenged every day and learn and absorb it's my favorite part of the job for sure. And I think the more you can find a job that you enjoy being challenged at, the more you'll enjoy your work. So that's fantastic to hear.
Yeah, it's really being challenged, and I'm a little bit older than you, Jeff, and the fact that I'm being challenged and I keep learning. At Amazon we love saying learning and being curious, but if I was to go to another company, maybe they would use my expertise, but are there that many companies where I'm challenged and I learn every day, and it's not only from my peers or my leaders, it's also from these young kids that are fresh out of college. And that keeps you on your toes. That keeps me excited.
Right. No, I'm completely with you. So that leads us to today. So you've been at Amazon, you said a few years now. Did you say 3 or 5 years? I missed your wording.
3.5.
3.5 years. All right. So tell me about your role today. Tell me about what you're doing.
Sure. So today I serve as a VP of Science and Research for Alexa Shopping. And our vision really for Alexa Shopping is to really for Alexa to become what we call the go-to shopping companion. We want really to escort customers in every aspect of their shopping journey. And I insist on that, when I say on every aspect, because when people say, oh, shopping is all going to be about, it's only about buying stuff. No, it's way more than that. Yeah. It's not buying, because it's a journey. You think about it, you ask questions about it, you search about it. It's before you buy, after you buy, and the way that we are looking at that is that we really have tons of needs. What's interesting actually goes back to at Amazon we love to do things customer backward, right? We start from the customers, and if we look at customers, we want to understand their needs. We want to understand their needs. We want to satisfy their needs. We want to delight people. It's not only just doing what they ask us to do. We want to delight and surprise them. And we want, even if I dream, right, to predict their needs. We want to try to suggest things to them even before they think of it. So if we look at all that, it's really a way to innovate. And it's for me, I'm looking at that as a natural evolution of my career in search.
Yeah, no, I think I completely agree with that. I think most of the people watching would probably agree. The idea that I could have an engine, and again, this isn't for big purchases. This isn't like a special pair of jeans I'm going to buy or anything like that. But there are so many times in my life where we're on our way to being out of a staple in our house, right? Paper towels or batteries or something like that. And I wish there was a service that would remind me, hey, by the way, you're running low on this, or not even that, just, hey, by the way, I've sent you some more because I know you need this.
It's happening, Jeff. It's happening. Actually, my team is involved in that, and it's probably going to happen to you soon. That you're going to have some notification telling you, you're running out of toilet paper. Wait for it.
And I do see hints of that in the things that I see on Alexa. Right, there will be times where it reminds me just on the screen, like, hey, you're probably almost out of this.
Exactly.
Based on consumption, based on how often I order. Right, it's using a lot of pattern matching to do with that. But that kind of stuff, I think, makes a big difference. I spend a lot of time talking about the idea that we can be using our personal AI and machine learning, like Alexa, to offload a lot of the day-to-day stuff that gets in our way of doing really awesome stuff. And I really like the idea that I could have AI thinking for me behind the scenes and worrying about when I need paper towels and when you know, all of that stuff kind of falls into the background. And now I can focus on the things that are important to me, not buying paper towels,
That's true. And so if next time you have a notification reminding you of something like that, remember it comes, from one of our scientist team, and they run like very smart, ML, machine learning, deep learning models to predict it for you. And we have to be super careful, because if we predict and we are right, it's awesome. But if we are wrong, there is nothing more annoying than that. That's why it's so difficult, right? We need it's not like search. Like if I look at search, if I was, I was working on web search, my 10 blue links that I show to you, 6 are good, 7 are good, and 3 are not so good, big deal. But now if I give you one notification and it's wrong, right, this is really annoying. I really need 100% precision. And that's why, I'm saying that Alexa is really the next level in search, because we have one chance to make you, happy to satisfy you. Otherwise, you're disappointed and you won't come back.
No, I think that's very fair. All right, so we got a really good feel for your background. You've been at a number of places. You said IBM and Google and Yahoo, and now Amazon. But I know you're also working on something related to the Alexa Prize, right? Task assistance. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So, when the first time I heard about Alexa Prize, I found that incredibly exciting, because if you think of it, right, we have, typically you have industry and you have academia, and maybe you have interns coming here and there, but there are very few opportunities for academia and industry to work together. And I do publish, and I do collaborate from time to time with faculty members, but every time you go to a conference, you will hear, professors and students saying, "Oh, we wish we had the data and the pain points," because we know in industry the pain points best, because we work on toy systems or on theory, and if I want to work in AI or in machine learning, I need the data, I need the access to people. And now comes Alexa Prize in one of the most advanced AI platform, and suddenly we have a way to let academic collaborators not only access our platform and play with tools that to take them years for them to develop, but also to advance the state of the art together with us and access our customers and willing customers who are ready to play, right, ready to experiment. How many times can you tell an academic team, what, come play with our bot, and you can access 100,000 million customers, real ones, and when you tell them, then they just they dream, right? It's like it's a dream come true. So yeah. We had a social bot, that many of you are familiar with. So it was Alexa Prize for a number of years, where it was awesome. Basically, I don't know if you ever, probably you tried to tell Alexa, let's chat, and then that's it. You're having a conversation. I'm playing the customer, and it's a fun and engaging conversation. And it's really, we needed academia for that, because really multi-turn conversation of that sort that can really last, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes is really open research. It's super difficult to have a engaging conversation like that. Yeah. And now we took it to the next level. So, I talked to my colleagues at in Alexa AI team, the guys who invented the prize and who have the infrastructure. And we started to brainstorm and said, what would be the next challenge? What type of other challenge could we have? And coming from search, one of the dream we always have when you look at search, you can search for, because you want to we call that informational needs, because you want to discover something, you want to get more information. You can search because you have transactional needs, because you want to buy something, for instance, and it happen in the web, right? Not only for Amazon. But you also want to search because you want to go further than getting information. You want to do something, and we call that task assistance. And when you need to do something, it's starting to be a very complex kind of need. It's not a one-time thing, right? You're not asking for the weather of the capital of Alabama. You want to bake a cake without gluten for 30 people. With this type of allergy. This is complicated. You want to renovate your deck. You want to refurbish your oak table. This is complex. This is not one session. Right. So that's the idea we started to have. We said, okay, let's take now Alexa. Let's take the Alexa Prize. And now we are not going to engage in a fun and engaging and social conversation. We are going to try to engage in a conversation to solve a problem, to really assist a user, a customer, in a task that they have to do over time. And for that, you need to put all the brightest mind, because it's incredibly complicated.
Yeah. My brain there stopped for just a minute. You mentioned making a cake. I've been on a diet for the last 6 months, and now all I can think about is how much I want some cake. That sounds amazing. But no, I really appreciate the way that you guys are thinking about this, and the way that we're really bringing academia into trying to solve some of these incredibly hard problems. I think this is a really exciting time. And as you were talking about shopping, obviously that's kind of core to everything that you do here at Amazon these days. Let's backtrack a little bit and talk about information retrieval and web search and some of the stuff that you've had a history in. How do the science and research around those topics, how does that help Amazon shopping?
Oh, everywhere. So, so if you think of it, when if we go back to the natural journey of a user when they want to shop, they're always going to try to discover stuff, and so they are going to ask either simple or complex questions, and that's really the essence of search. But when you look at question answering, for instance, it's going to be so search typically is when you enter a request, give me information about that, what's the price of this. So there is a slight difference. Search is wide, and question answering is a subset of it. And we need to use the latest method in information retrieval, in machine learning, to get it right. Because what I was saying before, if you compare shopping via Alexa, which is this type of ambient search, to web search, you have actually so few shots, to satisfy the user, that you need to actually, that's kind of the holy grail, or what Google used to have, I'm feeling lucky, right? One click. Because typically it's going to be the first candidate that needs to be the right one. So these are the type of challenges that we are tackling. And what we discovered actually, that what makes it even more complicated is then when people search by voice, their behavior is slightly different than by web. They are going to be maybe less verbose or more verbose. It depends. It's a new paradigm. People are learning to talk to a machine. And when I say search now, the science is actually the boundaries between the different disciplines of AI are now very fuzzy. When you say search, it has not only ML and deep learning, but also NLP, and also we are trying to understand emotion. So it's computer-human interaction. So it's all of it together, and funny enough, that was at the time, when I 30 years ago, when I discovered the field of information retrieval. The reason for which I got excited about it, as opposed to other fields, is that it had so many layers of different computer science discipline. It had system, it had data structure, it had performance, and it had humans, and that's the same thing here. If you want to be today a good scientist, you need to be very versatile, like a Renaissance person going over many, many disciplines. So I'm giving you a fuzzy answer because it's all about everything. One key principle, however, in everything we're doing, it's not as if we're taking our portfolio of research and a technology that is ready, or that we're inventing, that we dump on users, on customers. We are really, really using what we call customer-obsessed science. So we start from the customer, what they need or what we predict they need, if there's a pain or we want to surprise them or to please them. And then backward, we invent technology, or even we take technology that exists. Okay, so we were going to use search if that's what they need, but if they need something else, we will use something else. And if we need to invent something new, we will invent something new.
I like the invention. That's nice. But you're very right. And I think that's something that gets missed sometimes, is that Amazon is so incredibly focused on our customers that we want to make sure that we're doing what's right for them. And it's not just applying the same technology a number of different ways. We're really looking at, in this specific instance, this customer is trying to do X, Y, or Z. How is the best way to solve that problem for them? And I think that's fantastic. All right. So we've dived a little deep on the search and the web search, and a little bit of how that, like you said, it's fuzzy, but it's a very big gray ball that is all of this technology. One of the other problems that I know you've talked about before is computational humor, and I'd love to get into this just a little bit, because the idea of a computer trying to be humorous or funny is really, really interesting to me. As somebody that tries to take technology and spin it in a way that's accessible to not only our customers but just humans in general, you have to add a flair for humor and engagement sometimes. So it sounds like it's a really hard AI challenge, though. Can you tell me about it?
Sure. So you remember I mentioned before that we first need to understand customers. So again, we are going to use here a customer backward approach. We don't want Alexa to be funny for the sake of it, right? It so happened that we discovered that our customers are funny. And if they are funny and they're joking with Alexa, and so you can say today, like in customers' reviews, if you go to Amazon.com and you dig a little bit in the reviews, from time to time you're going to get a good laugh. Just and we stumbled upon it, right? We were working on question answering from customer reviews, and suddenly, we fell on reviews that just made us, crack. It was so funny. Just to give you an example, right? Some products, for instance, are intrinsically funny. So there is this type of banana slicer. It's kind of a plastic yellow mold with all kind of blades.
You saw that? Legendary. I know all about it.
And so you put it on a banana and shook, in one shot, you slice it in many, many slices. And okay, that's, of course, it's a joke because you could do that with a knife, but maybe it's a little bit useful or faster. And one of the reviews was, it was a question actually, not a review, was saying, does this, plastic handler or plastic shape work if you're left-handed? Okay, very funny. But another one, which was much funnier, said, what if my bananas are bended the other way? I think that's cool, right? That's really cool.
Yeah, that's funny.
So we discovered that, wow, this is cool, but we have to be careful because we have to understand that the customers are joking. That they are what we call that, being playful. Because imagine that we use this type of content to answer a serious question elsewhere, right? That would be really bad. So that's how it started, right? It started from a real need, and then it started to evolve a little bit because we saw first that there were funny comments for funny products, but we also have funny comments for absolutely regular product because people are fun. And so we start, they're just fun, right? When the first Echo show appeared, some of the reviews said, will you show me my future? That's funny, that's cute. And the product itself is not per se funny. So we started to build methods to detect that. And we had a paper at CGIAR conference. CGIAR is one of my favorite conferences, where I published, I think, my first paper more than 30 years ago. It's a search conference. We really had, an excellent, really, opportunity to share what we were doing there. And so we have a paper explaining how we can detect, funny customer question or funny customer reviews. But all that, we're starting with detecting, and the reason for which we look at computational humor is because our customers are funny, our users are funny, and if we want Alexa to be smart and to build trust, we need to make sure that she understands, or it. I say she, of course. That's my French side, right? I put, but anyway, that Alexa will really understand when a customer is being funny, so that Alexa can understand in the same tone. Because there's nothing more annoying that, assume, you joke with me, I don't get it, and I understand seriously, we don't build trust. So that's super important for us, and that's and for me, it's not just a nice to have thing. I think it's key in showing customers, showing users that Alexa really understand them, even when they're not serious.
Yeah. No, I think that's interesting. I think that detecting that humor, that's hard for humans sometimes.
That's true.
To even recognize that something was said sarcastically or as a joke versus a serious question. That's very, very interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
And it's a hard AI challenge, actually. If you go back to Alan Turing's very famous paper in the 50s about machine intelligence, he actually says specifically that, having a machine having a sense of humor, it's like, it's a big, big, big challenge. Actually put that, together with having machine having emotions or enjoying, I think, strawberries and cream. So that I'm not going to work on, right? Having Alexa enjoying strawberries and cream. But giving Alexa a sense of humor, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I love that. So speaking of conferences, I know there was a scientific conference, WSDM 2021 was just recently.
Correct.
Probably pronounced Wisdom, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, and so you're on the organizing committee for that conference, is that right?
So I'm the steering committee, which means I've been around, as I told you, for a while. So I do remember when the conference was kind of invented, a little bit more than a decade ago. It's a spin-off of the big web conference. And we felt that we needed this kind of a community. So Wisdom stands for WSDM, Web Search and Data Mining. And it was when, the search was exploding. So today, I've been PC chair a few times, and today I'm in the steering committee, so I'm behind the scenes. And this year, I was super happy to see 2 people in my team, Liane Louis-Nathan and David Carmel, who actually bid for the conference to happen. You need to bid for a conference to organize it. So I didn't organize it. It's much better. It's my team. So it's like, I'm super proud because they bid for it. They won the bid, and we had a wonderful conference about 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, it was virtual. That's the way it is. So my team was disappointed. We were really dying to host everyone. It was supposed to be in Jerusalem. It would have been, super, touristy for all the attendees. But,
Right.
given the circumstances, it did happen. Everything was smooth. That was, for me, it's even better, when you're not. It's actually a little bit like, I don't want to sound patronizing, but like a parent, when you see that it's not you anymore, it's the next generation, and they do better. Nothing more satisfying than that. So it was a wonderful conference. And even better, one of our very, very young scientists, a woman named Nikita Vedula, who just joined one of my teams in Seattle. She even had a runner-up. She was a finalist for Best Paper. So seeing all these, new talents, fresh, scientists, or a little bit more experience, like the one organizing it, putting together such a fit, it's great. And having Amazon there, you remember the beginning of our discussion when I was saying that a few years ago, Amazon was not at the front stage of science. It has changed. I'm proud to say that today, we have a wonderful reputation in the scientific community.
Yeah, I have to say that one of the biggest benefits for me being on this Alexa team has been the access that I've had to the Amazon Science Organization. Being able to connect with folks like you and a number of your colleagues and be able to learn and just discuss some of these topics has just been eye-opening for me to see the kind of work that Amazon's doing and the passion and the energy that they put into solving incredibly hard problems for customers it's just remarkable to me. So I agree. It's quite remarkable how much work is being done in the science arena at Amazon.
And you know what's crazy? That they are so fearless. I do remember every time, I interview a candidate, I tell them, we have tons of exciting challenges, but, it's hard because we are trying open research stuff and we are going to fail so often because it's incredibly complicated. It's not as if, there is a line of sight and we're going to deliver and we know what we're doing. We're trying, we're inventing as we go. And all this young generation said, okay, no problem. Wow.
Right.
I lose sleep, but they don't. And the wonder is that, yes, they make it happen. They're so fearless. Maybe because I'm old and I see the risk of failure, but they don't. They just jump in the water and they swim.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And you said you have a rich history of that's going to be really hard. Good luck to you.
Exactly.
They don't know that yet. They'll know eventually. And that's great. I love that youthful enthusiasm. I mean, you mentioned that you're older than me, but it can't be by much. And I have a rich history in this industry as well. And it's amazing to me when I see people that come in new and they're like, oh, that'll be easy. I'll just do this and this. And I'm like, all right, have fun with that.
Good luck.
All right. So as part of all of your work, I know you guys do a lot of collaborations with academia. Obviously, that makes a lot of sense between these conferences and other events. But one of the things that you're involved with is our Scholars Program, which hires and allows academics to join Amazon kind of like in a flexible capacity where they're still working for a university, but they come and spend some time with us, do some industry research. How has that been beneficial to Amazon? What makes that work? Working with universities around the globe.
So I think it's a wonderful thing. As I told you, I've been around and I've seen this kind of brain drain in the past, where we have to be honest, right? Industry would take away the most talented scientists or researchers in academia, and then it was for the benefit of industry. But then, where the new generation of PhD students that this faculty could have nurtured and educated just disappeared. And if you think of that, it's wrong. It's wrong for the ecosystem. It's being greedy. You take someone right now, wonderful right now, but maybe I lost 20 future scientists who didn't have the chance to learn with this faculty. So the fact that we have this scholar program is actually a beautiful kind of selfless model. it's not totally selfless, but I think it's rather a win-win model where we give, we give an opportunity to faculty members, come play with our data. You know what I mentioned before, having the chance to play with our data, with our real problems, and collaborate with us. At the same time, they don't leave academia, and they keep nurturing, and they're better when they continue working part-time with academia. Total win-win. We have a wonderful success story. So I feel better. I don't feel guilty that I'm stealing away, brains from academia. On the contrary, I help them getting better, and I invest in the future. So I sleep at night. More than that, what I'm saying that we give them such opportunities. So giving you an example, I have this wonderful scholar in my team. His name is Eugene Agestein. He's from Emory University. Actually, one of the Emory teams won this past year, the Alexa Prize. So Eugene, I've been working with him at other companies, and I've been collaborating with him. He's a big name in the search community. I was co-chair with him of one of the Wisdom conferences. And as soon as I joined, Amazon said, I'm dying to give him this chance to collaborate with us. So he came and joined us as a scholar, so part-time. And this year actually he spent a little bit more time because he was on a sabbatical. And he said, you know what about having an Alexa Prize? Because he had been an Alexa Prize competitor from the academic side. And now that he was on our side, he actually helped us build this new task assistant challenge. So he's behind the scene. It's wonderful, right? It's as if you're an actor and suddenly you're a producer, or you're a director. And now he was really one of the key brain, with other scientists in my team, like Oleg and others, Oleg Roklanko and others. And he basically helped us design what I think is a wonderful new challenge, which is this Alexa Prize task assistant. And for him, it was a dream, right? First, he was just a participant, he was competing, and now he can actually give back to the entire community of scientists. He's the one really helping build he's the best person to design because he's been on the other side. So that's an example of a great, scholar story, and I'm looking at it really again as a win-win.
Well, and you set that up perfect for me. My next question is really to get into the Taskbot challenge and talk about what that is and kind of help people understand what problems you're trying to solve. So can you give us the high-level overview of the Taskbot challenge?
Sure. So I mentioned it before, right? For task assistance is really the most complex and next generation of search, and it has everything inside, right? It's multi-tone conversation. It's over device. It's over time, because you have to go and get some ingredients. If we're caking, I'm going to make you again think about a chocolate cake, but you miss something. So it's over time. So you need to get context, etc. So this is a difficult research problem. Now, what the competitors need to do, so we recruit, we open the challenge. Right now it's running. We have the call open for applications. So academic teams, and these are really the students, are going to be tasked with building what we call a task bot. Like, the previous Alexa Prize was a social bot. Now it's a robot, but for task. And they need to build this task bot that's going to be able to help customers address their tasks. So we'd say, Alexa, can you help me with baking chocolate cake? And they need to build these bots that are going to be able to converse with users, asking the right questions, suggesting things. We're also using the multimodal devices where we are going to ask them to show stuff. It's not only speaking, because you need information which is visual as well.
Right.
And we are going to select up to 10, so that the regular Alexa Prize model, these teams are going to apply, and we really hope to attract as many different diverse teams from all over the world, like for the social bot. We will select up to 10, and these 10 teams that will be selected, we will help them in any way. We give them $250K to pull the students together, and then we give them access to data, to platform, and eventually, if their bot qualifies and passes the bar of quality, we put them really in the limelight. We let them play with actual users, and the best of them is going to be the big winner. And of course, a beautiful, monetary prize for the students for the students, which is a key thing. Not for the university, for the students.
That's lovely. And it's a lot of money, right? I think the top team gets what, $500,000?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So I think for anybody that's watching or still thinking about this, it's probably if you haven't started on this already, it's probably too late. But I think you guys are taking applications until the middle of the month, middle of April?
Yes, correct. And but I think that even if they should take they should take some risk, even if they are not such a big expert. If they are really in the field, they should give it a try. So maybe they won't be qualified the first year, but they will learn while doing that. And it's a challenge that's going to continue for 3 years. So start now, build some experience, and maybe in 3 years you're going to win it, right?
Well, I like that encouragement. So if for those of you working in this stuff, give it a shot. You've got until April 16th to get your application in, and then I think this is something that we can kind of pay attention to and engage over the summer, right? This is when a lot of their work will be done. The competition starts in June. Is that correct?
I don't remember, but I think it's on our website.
Okay. Very, very good. Well, I love the story about the prize money going to the students. I think that's really exciting because I think a lot of this stuff is just assumed that that's going to go back into the program or back to the university in some way. And I like that the students could actually make a little bit of money as a prize. That's fantastic. All right, so I only have a couple of questions left for you, but I think that we still got a good couple of stories to talk about. I know that we've talked about customer obsession quite a bit already. How does something like this TaskBot challenge help us think about customer obsession?
I think if you think about what we're doing in the multi-turn conversations. So I'm going to be a little bit, just a little bit scientific here.
I like it.
So typically, when you look at conversations or conversation management or dialogue management, what was done in the past was really for some smart people to think and try thinking of an ideal dialogue manager. Think of it like a graph or a workflow, and they would try to imagine how a conversation would happen. And you know what? It doesn't work because users are not predictable. And you can try to imagine, even if you put the smartest people around, right? You can try to imagine all the possible paths. It doesn't work like that.
No, not at all.
And so if we're talking about conversation and customer obsession and working customer backward, it's really, really one of the key, of the key concept of the key approaches of Amazon. We do everything customer backward. So now if we want to build a real, revolutionary dialogue management or conversation management, we simply need data. We need to make it for true conversations from true people. But now what's the problem? It's like a chicken and egg problem. I want to build a good system for you, but it's a new one. It's cold start, right? We never had something like that. So how am I going to start? Am I going to crowdsource? Yeah, I can do a little bit of crowdsourcing and to try to simulate conversations. But what we really need to do is to encourage people to take risks, having bots, like SocialBot, like Taskbot, let them play. It's not critical if it fails. Let them play and let them be natural. And if we can assemble and gather enough data, then we are going to generate better things. Because ML and DL it's all about, starting from data. But it's not starting from data in the back end. It's starting from real data from real users. So that's how we're looking at it.
Very, very cool. All right, and so as we put a bow on this whole TaskBot thing, is there can anyone that's watching or that's interested, how can they engage with this?
Oh, so it's everything is on Amazon Science. So go there. You can actually, there are many ways to apply, and if you Google it, you're going to find it. But go to the Amazon Science site, amazon.science, go there, and you'll see all the details how to apply. Perfect.
What about those people that want to interact with the bots? I imagine they can play on their devices with this?
Absolutely. So it's like today. If today you start and you say, tell Alexa, let's chat, you will be actually, you will start immediately playing with one of the university bots, and that's it, start the conversation. So as soon as it's going to be toward the end of the year, when we need to select the competitor for the Taskbar, they're going to develop it, they're going to qualify. There are many stages. So that's why I'm telling you, you need to be ready to compete. You're going to build it. You need to convince us that you're capable of building such a thing, and you have a little bit of intuition and a little bit of know-how in this field, you can go and jump, because it will take you, maybe 6 to 8 months to build this thing. And then toward the end of the year, these qualifying bots will be exposed to real users, and all of us will be able to say, Alexa, can you help me with, I don't remember exactly the utterance, maybe it's going to change, but there will be a key one that we will, she answered.
You set my device off. That's nice work.
And she understands my French accent. You notice? That's really special.
Very good. I have to say, I think the phrase is "help me with a task." I think that's what.
Yeah, I think something like that, right?
Yeah. All right. This has been fantastic, Yoelle. I really appreciate you being here today. I want to make sure that people know where they can find you and some of your research and your team. So, like you mentioned, everybody can find everything on Amazon.science if you want to read any of the research that we've been talking about and that she's been leading with her teams. I think there's also a recent blog post about the TaskBot Challenge, which I encourage everyone to read. And I think we've probably already shared the link in the chat, but if we haven't, I'll make sure that that's included there as well. And like we all mentioned, you can try, I won't say the name Alexa, but you can say, let's chat, and you can talk to a lot of the academic bots that are out there today. Or you can say, help me with a task to try some of these more TaskBot focused bots. So Yoelle, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. It's been my pleasure getting to talk with you. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we wrap up today?
I think there was a question, I'm sorry I couldn't really, while talking to Jeff, I really couldn't follow all the comments, but one question that one of you guys rose was about asking us, what attracts scientists to come to Amazon. So I have to answer this question because because basically, at the beginning, I didn't think of joining Amazon, because a few years ago, it was really not the place to go. And I know it's definitely the place to go, I would say. Of course, I'm biased. But what I'm going to tell you is, scientists join us when they want this kind of duality. You can, if you want to do fundamental science, academia is great, right? That's where you should be, because you want to advance and educate, and I love it. And we want to have more, a strong academia for our ecosystem. If you want to impact and launch, go to engineering. That's fine also. I've been an engineer. I loved it. But if you want to do this combination, right, you want to innovate on behalf of users but probably, launch things not alone, right, together with engineering partners, and publish about it because you want to contribute to the ecosystem. So you want to write papers, you want to develop code, but do the two of them together. So if you're a little bit, weird and have two, not one passion, but two passions at the same time, we are the people. We are really, really looking always for people who are double-minded, who want applied science, not 100% here, not 100% there, or maybe twice 100%. So it doesn't make sense mathematically, but you get my point.
I think that's really good direction. And I find similar parallels in my job too, right? I do a lot of engineering, but I also do a lot of research and customer interaction and trying to understand exactly what not only our developers want, but also what our end users want, and how we fit all of those things together. It's really exciting. And I'm glad I get to be a small part of it too. All right, well, Yoelle, thank you again so much for being here today.
Thank you.
It has been my pleasure, and I hope that our audience got something interesting out of today. There was a lot of interesting points to be taken away. The replay of this will be available on YouTube and Twitch not long after we're done here. So thank you guys all for tuning in. We'll be skipping next week. There's no episode here next week. I'm taking a little vacation, and so we're going to skip next week, but we will be back the following week with another incredibly interesting guest here talking about voice. So thank you guys all for watching. Alexa and friends, we will see you all very soon.
Thank you. Thanks.